That'll be incredible as we welcome you back here on NFL Live. Stu Scott, the best there is. All right, time to see what's on trend around the league, starting with Caleb Williams out in Chicago. Williams has avoided trouble this season, 12 scrambles of at least 10 yards. Only Patrick Mahomes has more. And 2 games this season without being sacked. That didn't happen once last season. Dan, does that trend continue against the Steelers?
Yeah, big time. So I have called these in the past hidden yards by quarterback McAfee. Pat McAfee has said that's a special teams thing. I'm going to call them bonus yards, okay? So this ball is going to get snapped from the 26-yard line. There's a play-action pass. He gets to the top. There's that defender. More often than not, this is a sack. This sack would be an 8-yard loss. Instead, Caleb spins out of it, keeps his eyes down the field, takes off, and turns it into a 8-yard gain. But it's not just an 8-yard gain. There's the difference of 16 yards there, right? Again, ball snapped on the 27.5-yard line. Caleb drops back to pass. There's no one to set. He scrambles in the pocket. Right in this moment, this would be a 10-yard loss, okay, from the line of scrimmage. Somehow finds a 6-yard gain. Not a 6-yard gain. There's another 16 yards there. There's 32 bonus yards just in that play. This time, ball is going to get snapped from that 33-yard line. There's a play-action fake. We get beat internally, scramble mode. I'm all the way back 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Most quarterbacks are going to go down here, get sacked. Instead of it being an 8-yard loss, Caleb takes off and turns this into a 14.5-yard gain, 22.5 yards. There's those bonus yards. Those 3 plays right there are 54.5 yards. He had 68 in that game. So the bonus yards that he's created because of the athleticism and just the creativity to get yourself out of problems, it's been tremendously impactful. And they don't show up in box scores. Those things don't show up in box
last year,
scores.
he wasn't doing that.
Last year, those were sacks.
Of course.
Did you do the math in your head as you were talking,
Nicely
or before
done,
the show, did you already determine these are the numbers?
Numbers guy.
Dan is pretty good at, like, arithmetic on the fly.
Numbers guy. Can't tell you what a verb is, though.
We know. All right, to San Francisco, the 49ers quarterback camp this season. We've seen a stark contrast in pressures and sacks. Brock Purdy getting pressured far more often, but sacked nearly half as much. Expect more of the same from Purdy this week against the Panthers on Monday Night Football. J-Mac, what do you think?
I do expect more of the same. I think what Brock Purdy and what this offense does so well is the pre-snap indicators that they give. Christian McCaffrey motioning out of the backfield. Kyle Juszczyk moving all around before the formation. You're going to see so many times Brock Purdy's going to have movement, then he's going to hit his head. Then he's going to check to a different play call and get them into something advantageous. Guys get in his face. He knows exactly where to go when the pressure gets there. That is his superpower, being able to determine before the snap exactly where to go.
All right, how about their opponent on Monday night? Just a half game separates the Buccaneers and Panthers in the NFC South. However, our analytics team says Tampa Bay still has an 85% chance to win the division, saying they have the second easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. Peter, are you buying the analytics that Carolina is way behind Tampa at this point?
Well, no offense to our analytics team. I don't know if our analytics team had Carolina going into Lambeau and winning 2 weeks ago. I don't know if our analytics team had Carolina coming back from a double-digit deficit and beating the Falcons on the road last week. Now they go on the road to San Francisco, and the name that I want to highlight is right there. Teteroa McMillan. He's second in the league as far as rookies go in yards per reception and third in touchdowns. The first half of the season was all about Emeka Egbuka, and we were talking about how this guy might be rookie of the year at the wide receiver position, and he's on a torrid pace. Then we kind of started talking about Tyler Warren and Jackson Dart. Teteroa McMillan has been more unstoppable than any of these guys on offense the last few weeks. He has become the go-to guy for Bryce Young, and I think it's kind of a national coming out party for this team. Do they get out there and show that, hey, we are one of these teams and we can beat a fellow playoff contender on the road against San Francisco? Or do they show up and lose like they did to the Saints a couple weeks ago and you're like, just when we wanted to give you guys a shot, you let us down?
Yeah, just so everybody knows, Carolina's physical at the line of scrimmage, okay? Like, just don't be surprised by that on Monday night. Dan Morgan, their general manager, the rookie class has been fantastic in some of the offseason additions. I think the McMillan thing is interesting because for 2 years now, or last year certainly, I always felt like Bryce had this committed like feet. His feet would just kind of catch and hang. And I feel like this year, the feet have become much more reliable, much more consistent. I think a huge part of it is McMillan. I finally have a guy I can trust. You're going to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And that has allowed because Bryce has always been a really good on-time quarterback.
Sure.
that's way more consistent now. I think that's the impact of the receiver.
I just talked to Teteroa McMillan before our show, getting ready for Monday night, and he said, I'm my own biggest supporter, but also my own worst critic. He thinks there's still a lot more that this team can do. We'll see if it shows up on Monday.
The Cincinnati, where for a second straight day, the Bengals listed Joe Burrow as a full participant in practice, putting him on a path to be able to play Sunday against the New England Patriots. You're not listed as a full participant in practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and then all of a sudden take a seat behind Joe Flacco, who's been limited to practice the last 2 days. The starter reps have gone to Burrow, and the starting assignment at this point, until they say otherwise, figures to go to Joe Burrow as well.
I mean, this is fascinating. And Adam told us this news yesterday, and we reacted. And you know what, Dan? Dan was saying, like, he thought, yeah, he should come out and play and all this. And I was kind of skeptical, and then you kind of convinced me, which is weird because normally you don't convince me of things. What do you think, J-Mac? Should Burrow be playing? Should he be out there this week?
I am skeptical. I think when you have surgery, there's a process to come back, and I know he's going through the rehab. Where they are in their season right now, I think you have the notion where if you're healthy, you should just play. And I think that applies to most players. Your franchise quarterback, to me, is just a little bit different. Going through practice, the one thing is the quarterbacks wear a different color jersey, and you're not allowed to touch them. When you get out there Sunday and now you're pushing on somebody trying to take you down to the ground, those things are a little bit different. So I just want to make sure he's 110% healthy before I'm putting Joe Burrow back out there on the field.
They're not going to wave the white flag. They're just not. And that's why they traded for Joe Flacco early in the season, because they thought it was a shot. And that's why Burrow will play if he can. Look, Zach Taylor spoke with Tom Brenneman, my old Fox colleague, on a local show in Cincinnati, and he would not rule him out. To me, that's where Adams is on this thing. If it's Joe Burrow and he can go, and Joe Burrow feels comfortable, cautious, prudent, or not, I would imagine Joe Burrow will be under center, and they're thinking playoffs is still a very big possibility, and maybe winning that division, which, by the way, I'm not blown away by any of the other three teams.
I mean, this is the stretch, right? Patriots at Ravens, at Bills, and then Ravens again. Now, the weeks 16 through 18 seem a little bit more probable, Dan, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough sledding if they're going to make a run.
Yeah, the thing I would say to you, J-Mac, you know this, like, I'm sure there's a reality where he feels this season's his fault.
Yeah.
This was the year. Trey came back, they signed the 2 receivers, and I got hurt. So there's just, as the quarterback, there's just this loyalty in a way of like, I gotta be out there. I don't care if we're in it or not. And I'm sure he feels that way.
Yeah.
The other thing is, this is statistically, points per game, the worst defense in the NFL in the last 50 years. Joe could come out and throw for 500 yards and 40 points and still lose. I hope he does that. I hope it's worth it. I hope it's in a win, and this defense finds a way to make one play.
Yeah, Burrow has not played since week 2 or nearly 70 days ago. Seems like we're going to see him on Sunday. Coming up,
Coach Zach Taylor said it was premature to speculate on the quarterback playing on Sunday against the Patriots. Jason, what is your perspective on the Bengals getting Burrow ready to play, considering where they are in the standings right now?
Yeah, you'd love to have Joe Burrow back out there. I'm a little bit cautious at this. I look at it, he had surgery, so you're working your way back. The 21-day practice period is open. He's now out there practicing. You don't want to rush that process. For the Cincinnati Bengals, they're not really where they want to be as far as the playoffs. I would like to see them win a game or two while Joe Burrow is still on the practice field, where you can control the amount of contact, the amount of push-off that he has to do with his lower body. You get out there in a game for Joe Burrow, and now you have guys pushing on you, guys actually rushing and try to
regular mouth. I'm not going to do it right now. Let's go to week 12 in the NFL.
Say that and then say I'm not going to do it right now.
I'll do it later. Well, later. Shedeur Sanders, he's getting the start for the Browns against the Raiders. You called the game when Dillon Gabriel went down and Shedeur came in. What did you see when he went out there?
How did you learn how to do I'm not going to go into that.
TikTok.
Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. What I saw was a rookie that got his opportunity to take his first snap with the starters. He should have struggled, and he did in that game. A lot of credit goes to the Baltimore Ravens and Zach Order, defensive coordinator, and how they attacked him. But moving forward for Shedeur Sanders, he now gets a week under his belt with a game plan that is centered around him. Dillon Gabriel, a smaller quarterback, they were trying to get him out of the pocket more. I expect Shedeur Sanders to get out there, stand firm in the pocket. He has to get the ball out a lot quicker than he did in that game. But his superpower is accuracy, and he's going to have to showcase that on Sunday.
See what he's able to do on Sunday. You were supposed to say that in a duck call. That was your answer.
But I'm not the one.
Wait, that wasn't it. I was about to beatbox, I think.
I was about to say that sounded just like Matt. So
I sound better than Matt.
100%.
That was me tossing it back out to Matt, by the way.